Good evening, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and now YouTube. We are streaming live via Facebook, the Facebook group, which is on Hot Topics, as well as YouTube. So be sure to follow me on YouTube on Keeping It Real in the Gospel. Follow my YouTube page, Keeping It Real in the Gospel, and hit the subscribe link at the bottom. Also, Hot Topics. Be sure you follow us on the Hot Topics pop up show page so that we can continue to broadcast to you each and every Monday, Wednesday, Monday through Friday, y'all. We just pop up. It's a pop up show. Um, so again, we want to just welcome you to Hot Topics. This is your girl Kenya, the CEO. We are coming to you live tonight from a new location, disclosed location. Normally I'm at my house, but I got another location I'm broadcasting live from tonight, and we have someone that is going to enlighten, inspire, and have the conversation tonight. But before that, we want to pay some bills. We want to send a shout out to Gillian and Cole. Y'all know that Sylvia Robinson. She paid the cost to be the boss. She paid the cost to be the boss. She paid for all this, y'all. That's Sylvia Robinson over at Gillian and Cole. And also, we want to just invite you guys over to the Celebrate with Me as we celebrate Black History, the gospel concert, praise and worship experience. It will be at the Libby Wesley Amphitheater at 2 Southwest Fifth Avenue in the great city of Delray Beach, Florida. This will be going on February 8th from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We will be letting you know who is the winner of the categories that we have had up for the last 45 days. Again, we have about 11 days left to vote. Continue to vote. Everybody's a winner. Once you were nominated, everybody's a winner. But what happens is because of your vote, the person that got the most votes will become the best. But everybody's a winner when it comes down to that because you were nominated. Once you become nominated, you become a winner. So again, I got my good friend Sabrina. She's going to hang out with me. I want to call her Sabrina, but I want to call her Miss Harris too because just respectfully, I've always called her Miss Harris. So we have tonight Sabrina Harris. She's going to come and we're going to have a conversation. Sabrina, Miss Harris. What can I call you?
Either or is just fine. Anything. Most people call me Queen. It somehow
Okay.
it's just kind of tagged along, but whatever you choose is fine with me.
Well, we're going to call you Queen because I do know that you have branded that. So we're going to call you Queen tonight. But I need you to do me a favor and introduce yourself to my platform. Let everybody know who you are.
Well, my name is Sabrina Harris. First of all, I'd like to say all praises due and given to God. I do absolutely nothing without Him giving Him credit. Most people know me by the mental health discipline that I'm in. I do a lot of crisis and trauma oriented work in the field. I've been on this mission since 2008 and I really advanced fully into it in 2013. I am the CEO and the executive director of the House of Loveillionaires. And a lot of people ask me about the name, and you simply take out million and billion and you put in love. And the concept is to just be rich on the intangibles of life and those things that money simply cannot buy. So within the House of Loveillionaires, we take a lot of different disciplines and we define a well-rounded continuum of care. So I like to intervene for those who are either going through or have gone through trauma. I realized through my own personal experiences that aftermath is when you really, really need somebody. And typically, in many cases, the aftermath is when everybody's gone. So we rewrite the script and we change the narrative, and we're there to walk you the rest of the journey home, whether it be relocating, leaving abusive relationship, whatever it means to reestablish yourself in a whole, healthy, and holistic manner. That's what we're here for. So that's
Okay.
kind of in a nutshell.
Okay. So I'm loving the name, and I'm glad you said that because when I was doing the post, I'm like, I wonder if this means love a millionaire. So I mean, where did that? I mean, you explained the concept, but let's go a little deeper. Where did that concept come from as far as loving it? Does that mean like, we're all millionaires in his own right, but we need to show more love, or how did that come about?
It's actually, we put love in because the emphasis was on self love, and it really was a spinoff of me having an opportunity to mentor young people. And when we would ask them the question, myself in particular, about what it meant to have arrived in life and really accomplished something, most often the answers lent themselves to materialistic things. So it was the house, it was the car, it was all of these things that required money. But in the meantime, and I had to say, even as a professional having experienced it, you can amass the position, you can amass the money and all of that. But a lot of time we're broken, we're depressed, we're stressed
Mm.
out, we're not really able in a position to enjoy what we have accomplished because we've just so overwhelmed ourselves. So I asked them to, yes, I want you to be accomplished. I want you to be successful. But before anything else, I want you to be the amazing person. I want you to be that person who shows up whole and you're not bleeding on your brother and your sister. I want you to be the one that has a word of wisdom even though you're young. I want you to be the one that advances into healthy relationships, not just romantically, even socially. I just want you to be a good person before anything else. That way, when you amass the success, then you are really to the next level. And it's not vain, it's not superficial or any of that. You're just a really good person who's managed to be very successful.
Wow. So with everything, and I know that you deal in mental health, and I know it's important for me to bring you on because we see so many pastors are stepping down. We see so many people are hurting and harming themselves. I mean, um, how is this kind of affecting the mental health community at this point? I mean, how is this affecting it? You get what I mean? Like, how is it affecting it?
I do. And I love how you're presenting it because it's really a difficult conversation, it's difficult dialogue. First of all, I want to say that we're born triune beings. I mean, we're born mind, body, and spirit. You
Mhm.
can't separate that. And I tell people all the time that it all starts within our mind. And I love Dr. Daniel Amen. I mean, he's branched out phenomenally at this point, but one of the first books I read that he wrote was Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And
Mm.
I've affectionately shifted it around a little bit to positively change your brain, positively change your life. However, it is to the understanding that a lot of things have been passed down generationally. And innocently, we have accepted them, we have not questioned them. A lot of misinformation, a lot of things that have been given to us that we just kind of grabbed a hold to and accepted. But I explain to people all the time, one thing we don't do, particularly in the African American community, I think we're getting better at it, but we don't question status. We don't question what's always been, even when it's hugely dysfunctional. And mental health is one of those dichotomies because, to be honest, a lot of mental health is genetically based, meaning a lot of it is passed down. ADHD is one diagnosis, bipolar, schizophrenia. Those are chemical imbalances in the brain. And a lot of that is overcome successfully long term, but it's a continuum of care to include therapy, psychiatric services, medication, and all of these things. So if we are denying that the situation even exists, definitely we're not attending to it. And this is where things exacerbate or they advance way out of control when it's needless and it doesn't have to be. So you now have people walking around with suicidal ideations, they're suicidal. You now have them visual hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, they're hearing things, delusion, like people are following me. I mean, all of these things are very serious things, and we're collectively as a whole, and I say we because it's a learning process, we're not attending well. So when we have these conversations, which we're definitely going to emphasize it more in 2020, we have a conference coming up and some other things to fuse together the spirituality component and help, I guess, calm the fears, help right the wrongs, help rewrite the script to say, we come this way, so we attend this way. And I posted on social media recently that for most of us, to be honest, I know a lot of people are advancing into the holistic realm, but when we have a medical issue, we seek out medical expertise. And we
Right.
really have no problem doing it. We go to the doctor, we go through our exams, we do whatever. And a lot of times, medication prescribed and everything else, diagnosis made. And I know people who walk out of the physician's office and they're clueless. I asked them, well, what was your diagnosis? Well, I don't know. Your medication, what are you taking? Oh, I don't know. And they'll look in their bag and they'll get their prescription. What is this for?
My
Oh,
God.
well, my doctor just told me I needed it. So even the side effects and all of that different things, we're not asking questions and we're not becoming educated, because when you become educated, it calms your fears and you're no longer. But one of the things we have to be very careful of inside of not knowing is deterring people away from the services and things that they need, because you're resting in a state of not knowing and you're not trying to learn. And it's hugely detrimental. There's a safety component to it and all of that, because a person who advances into psychosis or a person who's suicidal, we see it all the time. You know, you're over here in denial, this doesn't exist and everything else, and this person is majorly depressed and going through all of, we eventually have someone who's taken their life or taken the life of another person or done something very bizarre. If you're looking out on the highway, societal highway now, a lot of these crimes and situations, so you have to say wisely that this person cannot be in their right state of mind. This doesn't even make sense.
Wow.
So what we're choosing not to do, the questions we're choosing not to ask, the conversations we sidestep and refuse to have, and even when you have someone who comes along who's done the research, who's done the work, who's put themselves in a position to really sacrifice and educate the community, it is now very offensive for those who shut you down or those who try to deem you not credible in that way. It serves a disserving purpose. However, those who are on the field for the right reasons understand it. And what we can only do is continue to do our best to educate and be there when the person needs us.
Okay, just okay. So I see that you post about narcissists, um, and I really just started learning about narcissists this year. Is that also a part of a mental illness, or is that just something that we just tell people that's controlling? Is that a
No, no, no. It's a personality disorder to be exact. And it's in the
mm,
mental health realm or the mental illness realm, because it's actually a disorder. But a person who is narcissistic, they're hugely self serving, first of all. And the affections, the emotions, and all of these different things that we typically feel and honor to this individual, they could honestly care less. Everything is about their ego, everything is about um, they're feeling good, you're building them up and you make them feel good. But what is so detrimental about a narcissistic person is you have a timeline here, because this person does not want you around forever. This person does not want to be in your life forever. This person wants to use you, get what they need from you, and their ultimate goal is to move on to the next person. So a lot of people are trying to establish relationships with these individuals, be in their lives forever, and make themselves feel like that they can really change these individuals when that's not even what they want. It's
wow.
very disturbing. And we're seeing it play out today all across the board. It's very huge in leadership. A lot of people have these personalities and these egos that go along with it. But I try to say as best as I can, because even on social media, you have to kind of be careful because you would get censored for speaking the truth. And that's
Right.
mind blowing to me. But it is the fact that why are we not questioning these behaviors? Why are people in certain positions not having to commit to psychiatric and psychological evaluations? Why, when we see these symptoms presenting themselves, why are we not saying anything? Why are we just letting all of this happen? Because if I'm saying at the basic level of society, the fundamental level, just say where we rest. I'm gonna put myself in it, everybody in it. If we're saying we need to show up whole, we need to show up healthy, we need to be mentally stable and all of these things, it would just only make sense that we have the same expectations of our leaders.
Mm.
those who are in positions where there's more stress, where they're making decisions that affect other people and all of that. But we sit by silently, we co-sign the dysfunction, and it's not because it's not evident, it's just simply because sometimes it's easier to be silent. But in the meantime, people are suffering. And that's where I say no longer is silence okay for me. If I see it, I call it. And sometimes you're just going to put you on the hot seat, but it is what it is. I have an expectation. I tell people, I said, I have been traumatized several times in my life, my past story. So, being on the front line as a mental health therapist, especially specializing in crisis intervention and those things, I have to be wise enough to say, okay, Sabrina, to show up whole and be reasonably healthy in this way, there are a lot of things you have to do to attend to yourself. And there are a lot of pressures that go along with it. So I'm constantly revisiting that in my mind. I even had a pastor that I sat with yesterday, and she just allowed me to talk and cry with her for a little bit and have my moment. But I position myself to have people in my life where I can do that, and it's a safe place. And a lot of it is done by discernment. But I can't feel just because I know to a certain degree or function to a certain degree that I'm just good and there's no attending that I need to do to my for myself. That's just misplaced understanding.
Wow. This is so it's so deep because you see so many kids and I was talking to my daughter. If you go back to like when I first started, my daughter was bullied as a young girl. And I didn't know it till one day she said to me, I'm being bullied. And I was like, wow, what make kids want to bully someone else? What make kids do the things that they're doing? Is that something that's also in the mental health realm, or is it just something that they're acting out because they're not getting what they need? Or is there a missing piece of love that's not giving? Is there a way to kind of diagnose that, or that's something that?
It's actually a combination of all the things that you've said. But one of the key things that is embedded side of bullying activity is control. The individual, for whatever reason, is deficient in his or her self esteem, confidence, the way that they feel about themselves. So a lot of times, the easiest way for a person to feel superior, even though it's just simply misplaced, is they'll impose that on other people. So now that I know that I can intimidate you, I feel
Right,
strong. Now that I know that I can make you cry, I feel superior to you. So that's a lot of what I'm finding with dealing with bullying. But I have to say, society has set us up for the okadoke in a sense because dress a certain way, look a certain way. I know kids who've been bullied because their parents come up to the school and they're not dressed a particular way or they look a particular way. I encountered a young boy several months ago, and actually he was with staff. I was just assigned to him. He's a new client. Well, we're several months in now, but they were with him and they had pulled him aside because he escalated and he became aggressive, and it was towards two other students in particular. So I asked the gentleman because it was just going left. I could see it when I walked up, and I said, just give me an opportunity to try and talk to him. So I sequestered him. And he's fuming and fist balled up, and let's breathe, and we worked him through it. But ultimately, the two young boys had witnessed his mom in the office, and apparently she came up very casual, heavy set woman, and a lot of the physical attributes of his mom, they just pummeled this little boy with him, not knowing that he'd been traumatized. He'd been sheltered in the past. There were so many things going on with him. So now to be back with his mom meant everything to him.
right,
He's on a war path for, okay, you're bold enough to talk about my mom. Okay, so you're going to have to deal with me this way.
right,
There was no reasoning for that.
right,
So it's teaching our children, first of all, to be considerate of each other, to be respectful of each other, to understand that words hurt, tones hurt, gestures hurt. I've seen a lot of situations escalate, and the individuals involved are not saying anything. but you could look at a person a certain way, or you can move a certain way or gesture a certain way, and for a lot of people, that's going to be a problem.
Yep. I I I saw a post on Facebook the other day where someone said, if you send your child back to school without their hair done, that makes you a bad parent. And I was going to reply. I asked my daughter before she went back to school, do you want to get your hair done? She said, no, mommy, I prefer to take that $180 because hair, costs that much and invest it in my business. So she went back to school with her old braids because she'd rather have taken that money to invest more into her business so that her future where it needs to be at. But sometimes the parents,
I was
parents,
going to say,
the parents,
clearly, you're teaching her, you're educating her. Entrepreneurship is already on the table. But I posted a day ago or several days ago that we do not all subscribe to the same standard.
right,
And that's why we have conflict and all of the things going on. You're over here trying to teach your children and build them up and everything else. And to some other people who believe different or feel different, it's just not that important. It's not that serious.
right. We're living
So,
through our children, and
absolutely.
we're living through our children. And I made a statement to my daughter. I listened to her conversations, and she said, "My mother can give me everything I want, but she doesn't give me everything I want. She give me what I need." She said, and I tell her, I say, I don't give you what you want. I give you what you need. I say, because I need you to understand that if I'm not here, you may not be able to get the things that you want. You'll get the things you need because you never know the day of the hour. My nephew lost his mother and she was 37 years old. So now he's out here like, what do I do now? Because at a young age, he lost his mother. So now she's not able to give him everything like before. So now he's falling into the place where I don't have Nikes, I don't have this. So I teach my daughter, I'm going to give you everything you need. I provide lights, phone, cable, stuff you need. But the stuff you don't that you want, you may not be able to get it. You bring me a good report card. And I think a lot of parents and I had my daughter late. I had my daughter at 30. So,
Okay.
I'm old school. And I say, listen, you don't need all that. I said, that's not what you need. What you need to do is make sure we get your proper education so that you can continue to grow because nowadays, in order to get a good job, you have to have your education. So that's what's on the table. It's not about dressing up and who has the longest nails and the lace fronts and not understanding that your future. And I told her, I said, listen, I'm not paying that kind of money for some human hair when I could put that in the CD and you can save some money. So by the time you're 18 and go to school, you done got some interest on this CD I'm putting in. And so a lot of people don't see it, may not see it the way I see it. They may not understand it the way I understand it. But you have people that, the students in school saying, oh, you don't have the latest brands.
Hmm.
But your mom at home saying, I need you to save your money because you never know what may go on, for your future when you get older and you want this car when you're 17, so it's so much that, you know, again, and I went to a parent and I said, hey, your daughter's bullying my daughter. And she said, oh, not my daughter. Now, me,
Yep.
being honest with you, the
Yep.
old Kenya, she was a force to be reckoned with.
We've evolved. I can say I have evolved as well. We've
I
evolved.
don't Kenya just it don't take much. It just take a little bit. So I said, listen, I'm raising my daughter that a totally different way. I was raised good. I was raised in the church, but I still had that. I didn't bother you, so don't bother me spirit. And if you bother me, it is what it is. So I teach my daughter, and I made, and everybody said I taught her. I say, Naya, I want you to go to school, and I want you to learn. I don't want you to get into no fight. If somebody hits you, walk away. Go tell the teacher. And everybody said, why are you doing that to her? I said, because you know what? I fought all my life. I'm just being honest. And
Yeah.
today, if you catch me the wrong way, I may fight you again. So I'm being honest. I'm transparent. So I tell people, I say,
We have to, and I said, I strongly believe conflict resolution should be a part of the school setting from a very early age. But I love what
right,
you were saying about how you're raising your daughter and teaching her, because I believe in the adage of not giving a fish, but teaching you how to fish, not
right,
to have one good meal, but to be able to go out and catch several. And we cripple our children when we given, 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 and when it's really time to them for them to face life and own life, They're consistently looking to you to filter that for them or make that happen for them, and they have no wherewithal or autonomy or independence about life. It is very crippling and it serves really no purpose. However, the strength that you've given her, the mindset that you've developed within her, it helps those children, but they have to have a level of resilience about them. I'm going to be honest. We're all born with a portion, but we have to develop it. And how
Yeah.
do we develop that resilience? Is by over time engaging and dealing and overcoming and like, okay, I can get through this, and we build it up. But the people who never challenge themselves are always left with that little portion. And they're over here wondering, well, how did they get through that and they're okay? And my God, how did they overcome that? They're resilient. They're not giving up. They're pressing forward. But that's developed in us and bred and ingrained in us at a very early age. I tell people also too, that's what a good therapist or a counselor, because a lot of people don't understand. That's what we come along and we do. Even for you, a lot of times when we pop off 0 to 100 real quick, we're just gonna keep it how it is. It's defensive. We've learned how to make sure you're not gonna get me. I'll get you first. Or if
Hmm.
you come at me like that, I'm gonna make sure you don't come at me like that again. But what I'm teaching children, and sometimes it's avoidable, sometimes it's not, because sometimes you people just don't like you because they just don't like you. But if you can avoid the conflict, and if you can avoid these people, and if you can position yourself, because a lot of times I'm finding that these young people just want to be accepted. So they'll switch it around, they'll change it around, they're in this setting, they function this way. And I've had to call a couple of them on it. You told me you wanted to be this way and do this. You didn't know I was on the school campus observing you and watching you, and I saw you do this.
Hmm.
Oh, well, Miss Sabrina, I was just trying to, make sure there wasn't no problem over here. Have them look at me like that. And I say, at one point, are you going to stop sacrificing who you really are? At what point are you going to stand up for who you really are and how you really feel and understand that that's okay? You're worthy and that's enough. We bend, we break, we twist, we turn for individuals who are not really sure of themselves. So
Right.
why are we sacrificing ourselves so much? And once I rest in the place that a lot of people foster conflict because they've learned how to push our buttons.
Hmm.
Learn what to say, they've learned what to do. Because
Amen.
really, if they see you in a certain element in a certain place, they'd be like, okay, well, I know how to knock her off her game, or watch this. She not really like that. She not really that composed. Let me say it. A lot of people will test you
And I've been
to,
tested, Miss Sabrina.
to
Trust me,
be open. But
I've
to
been
be tried to do, there is no win in it all. What I do when I win is I simply say, I'm good with who I am. I know by process, design, and growth that there are things I'm going to have to challenge, do better, and be better. But do
tested.
I love Sabrina? I love myself as a person? Absolutely. Everybody who comes along, are they going to dictate for that for me? Absolutely not. And you have to be okay with that. And I promise you, people will begin to see you differently. No, this is who I am. This is who I believe. I'm always open to a good word, but all people and situations and circumstances, they're simply not going to dictate me, or else I never show up as who I am in this life, and I'm never truly defined.
Yeah, I've learned from falling. I've been able to. I kind of fell off one time. Just like sometimes it's within anything, the weight of the world get on your shoulders, and people will push you, and within anyone. And like I said, I changed, and it's
Yeah.
a miracle moment. And I got pushed into a corner, and I came out. The only way I knew how to come out was, I'm like, okay, all right, I understand, okay, okay. And then I got pushed into the corner, and then the only way I knew to come out the corner was the old kingdom. Did it knock me down? But I realized that after it happened, okay, everybody's not going to see the fact that, okay, I'm this sweet loving person. All they saw was, okay, Kenya just went off.
Yeah.
So it can change the view of people. And it took a while for people to see the deeper side of me. And I learned from that. Like, okay, you know, they don't see that it was a push, 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 push. Only thing people saw or see is the
Your
result.
reaction.
They see the result. They
They
don't.
don't see the building inside of us because a lot of times we suppress the different things that are going on.
Right.
But what worked for me, because I became retaliatory and very defensive, especially after some of the things that I experienced in my life. Because we want to avoid pain. I don't really know anyone except, maybe a few misogynistic people who love pain and have a certain way that they go about it. But most of us want to avoid pain. We don't like
Right.
feeling. What I've learned to do after a conflictual situation, and this is very honest, and it took me a long time to reasonably perfect this, is to question myself in the side of the situation. I
Right.
had to stop looking at other people because their mode, rhyme, or reason all the time, most of the time, is very different, self serving, never going to really know the truth. So I started looking at Sabrina. Why did you say what you said? Why did you do what you did? And why did you respond the way that you responded? And after asking myself those questions, a lot of times I would list the things I would come up with. I would do a counter list of what could I do better? Because
Right.
what I know for a fact is conflict is not going to stop. Problems are not going to cease. We just learned that is the reality. So I had to bridle myself and say, okay, Sabrina, how are you going to show up? How are you going to take responsibility? Because I don't have to argue, and now I don't. I don't have to stay around and allow people to make me feel a certain way and all of these things. I don't have to show up for the drama and the foolishness. And if I am pushed to that place, and I do get very angry, people say all the time, I know you don't. Yes, I do. I've learned even the basic techniques of the breathing. Breathing is huge for me because I can feel myself escalate. And I also say now you are being held to a certain standard. So give me a few minutes. I'll do it famously. Give me a few minutes to think about that, or would you give me a few minutes? I need to take a break. And when I take a break, especially if it's in a professional setting, I'm composing myself. I'm developing not a response, and I want you to catch this, but a strategy. A
Okay.
strategy for how I'm going to handle this when I go back in the room. How am I going to show up? Do I need to diffuse this and be done? And we revisit this another time? Or am I very solid on how I'm going to be, what I'm going to say, and what I expect?
Wow.
And doing that has served me well, taking control of me. Because from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, that's my span of control. I can't control anyone. But I also have learned to say, I'm not going to let other people control me.
This have turned into a coaching moment for Kenya. And I appreciate that. Because sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need to know the the remedy to the problem. And sometimes people can push you. And I think sometimes people just try to see how far they can push you. So that makes sense. And I hope people when they listen to and I listen to all my replays, and I can
Yes.
go over that again to just put that in my head. To give me a minute. Let me walk away for a second
But
instead of
I want to interject this so you really think about this, especially when you listen to it on the replay. A lot of people, yes, they have hidden agendas. Some of them are exposed agendas. Some people just do what they do and they really don't care. However, when you add in mental illness, personality disorder, you add in all of the different things that are going on, you have to say sometimes that even professional people are not coming from a stable place. That's just the reality. So you don't
mm,
really know what you're dealing with. That's why I tell people start arguing with people. I tell my husband all the time, he's just borderline road rage all the time. He's one that's gonna blow at you and all of this stuff. Listen, you don't know who's in that car. You don't know what kind of
mm-hmm,
day they're having. You don't know there could be right on the edge, and that horn that you blow, or whatever the case is concerned, it just takes them right over. So we
yeah,
have to learn to, and he's now saying, because he'll look at me now, because I know he want to do it, but I'm in the car like, And now he knows how to control himself and, just keep right on going. If you have to stop, stop. If you have to slow down, whatever it is, we live to carry on another day. It's not
Yeah.
over.
And that makes sense. That makes sense because sometimes you think that, and I've always thought this mindset, oh, they're from a good place, or they're a business owner, or they're this and they're that. So you think mentally that the people that's in that realm just are professional,
And
and
it's
that
a
makes sense.
huge, it's an assumption that could cost you greatly. Because until people are just subscribing to the understanding of how important mental health is, there's a lot of mental illness unattended to, and that's just the reality. And you don't know what places people in. I even know that some who attend and they're prescribed psychotropic medication, they don't take it. That's a part of their stability part of it. They don't like it. And I say, I understand you don't like the side effects, which we can atone for an adjustment or do whatever is necessary. But when you're not on your medication and you're not doing the things that you have been recommended to do, you're unstable and you could cause issues for yourself and other people. So
My
I talk a
God.
lot about responsibility. So even in our denial, we're not accepting responsibility and accountability
Mm,
for ourselves and our state. My mental health is my responsibility.
my
It's
God.
not yours to do with. It's mine. Everything
So
about Sabrina responsibility.
that's one to grow on because that's one to grow on when you able to say my mental health is my responsibility. So if you see that tag places, don't be like I'm gonna use that because my mental health is my
It's very
responsibility. So
true, and I hope people cling to it and hold on to it. Everything that I'm dealing with, and I'm constantly reevaluating my life, seeing what I can do better for myself, thinking about self care and different things that I need to do for me. Because sleep right now is a huge one. It's a situation for me. I'm up early in the morning. That's my time with God. My husband understands it, but I need to get a certain amount of sleep and different things like that. But to understand that I have no right to have a short fuse with you or go off on you because I haven't gotten the proper rest.
amen.
Because I choose to find my life a certain way where I'm agitated or anxious or I have all of this stuff going on. And now when you say something to me or you come in my presence, it's not okay for me to spill over onto you.
Are you reading
That
me
is
because you know I work a lot and I be angry? Don't be
I know we are similar people. We have a certain kind of style and we do things a certain way. But with public service comes a lot of sacrifice. And I just had
right.
this conversation Saturday over in the Glades that we're always attending and doing and working and going and all to do, but we're attending to everybody else but ourselves. And
Mm,
I have a tagline that we can only be as good as to others as we are to ourselves. I don't have anything to give you if I'm not taking care of myself, or
mm.
I'm not showing up the way that I could or should if I'm not taking care of myself. And a lot of things go along with that, trust me. But the number one contender for being able to bleed on somebody else is mental illness.
My God. So let me just ask a question because I know that you're hosting an event. The event that you're hosting, I'm going to show the entire flyer. So the wisdom evaluation is that I'm going to come off. Is that also helping with mental health?
Yes, actually, it's a two part. I'm going to be launching this weekend. I understand the term support groups, and we all understand there's a particular topic. People gather, they have this similarity in common, and they go through this process of healing and all of that. But I believe the support groups commit you to always having the problem. So instead of support groups, we're developing elevation experiences. So we're going higher within ourselves. But God gave me the theme of pearls of wisdom. And I did a lot of research on pearls and the whole concept of the shell and everything else. And it's so amazing that by a process all going on underneath, that these different things are happening, and then you have this beautiful pearl that materializes out of it. But it even goes further in the research to say there are situations where they slit the shell and they
Okay.
interject good nutrients and things. That's how we get our cultured pearls, our colored pearls. So
I
we
know.
already have goodness that can be going on underneath internal. We're fixing things, we're evolving, but we can have individuals come along and interject. And that's what I'm trying to get women to understand. Instead of hating on each other and fighting
Mm.
against each other, we individually have so many things that we can infuse into each other collectively
Yes, ma'am.
to make each other better. But it's a
Mm.
mindset. So we're pearls of wisdom. We're those jewels. We're those beautiful things in life that is materialized from a process. And I am open to my queen sister coming and infusing and injecting me with her goodness.
Mm. Preach.
So we give it the goodness to the next person and the next person and the next person. We got to show up different. And this is our process. And this is to say that when you need a safe place, when you need somebody to love on you, because I'm so tired of hearing I didn't know where to go or who to call. Because
Yes,
most
ma'am.
of the time, therapeutic process is 1, 2 hours a week maximum. People need somewhere else to go, excuse me, in the interim. And that's what we're creating. And I've been sitting on this idea for the show, oh my God, for about a year. And God has kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And we're getting ready to launch it. It's building off of that concept, but we have pearls who feature. So the psychoeducation piece is a mental health expert. The experiential piece or the experiential pearl is a person who's had that experience.
Okay.
And the transformation pearl or the transformative pearl is the person who can now come along and help you elevate, find that next place, that positive psychology, and implement those tools and resources and things in your life. So it's always going to be that, at least those three spectrums. And we're also going to go out in the community and have conversations with individuals and things of that nature. So it's going to be an interactive and very broad show. But the undergirth of the show is our mental health and wellness.
Okay. So the show is again is pre-recorded, right?
Yes, yes.
So
We're recording the first. Actually, this Saturday we've done trailers and a lot of interactive, and we've kind of put a few pictures and things out there. But the official first official show is going to be taped on Saturday, and the show itself will be launched on social media platforms such as the same that you do here before the end of January. So
okay.
we're super excited. Definitely, I've been searching out in the highway, the social media highway. I come in contact with a lot of people. I interact with a lot of professionals. So you're probably going to see faces that you've never seen, names that you've never heard. We're just going there because I'm thankful, especially in the African American community, that we're taking mental health more seriously.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I do want to. I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to break the news.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
heard the Latin American topics. I know people like, oh, that's listen. I was able to break the news because that's what we hear. You know, like I've always followed you. I've always seen you at different shows and different events, and they said, you know, Miss Sabrina Harris, is queen, and this is the first time I've ever had 45 minutes out of your time to talk to you, to be able to learn more about you, and I am so inspired to know the wisdom you share about mental health because you have helped me through some things tonight. And I think that's the problem is that we're so big and bold, so we don't want to reach out for help.
And,
And
I, and
we
I'll give
want
you
to,
and I'll give you a second piece to that because a lot of people they'll entertain discussions and different things of that nature. But I in the conversation usually for some people, do you really want to change? There's way too much resistance here, or you are not receptive to a good word. I know you have a certain position, you know this and that, but to be honest, the information that I'm sharing with you, you don't know. So
right,
are you receptive to?
right,
And then I'll go you one further. Because for those who sit down in front of me and expect for me to pull out the magic wand, I say we're wasting our time. There's no magic wand here. There is work here. Trauma therapy for me was the most rigorous time in my life because it was not only just the trauma work, but it was a spiritual transformation. I really came into the understanding that God had called me to the ministry, and I questioned it. I'm like, God, you sure? I'm just kind of controversial over here, and God was saying to me, I need that. We need a breakthrough moment. Different time calls for different measures. You're going to be able to reach people certain other people can't reach, and that is the truth. There are certain people who will sit down and talk to me, they're not going to talk to me. So God just knows what he's doing, and he's strategic, and I thank him for it because I said, I'm always going to be true to who Sabrina is. I've been adorning and in fashion and creative, gosh, since I was like 6 or 7 years old. I remember creating, like taking a handkerchief and decorating it for a gift from my dad. So I never saw things as they were. So no, it's nothing demonic. It's nothing any of that. I'm just very creative and I love to do things different. So if I wake up and I have a vibe going on and I want to put a flower in my hair, I'm going to do that.
And I love it. I
I
love your
that's
style.
just me. If I want to put some diamonds in my head or a little sparkle here, I'm going to do that.
And I
It just
appreciate
makes
you for
me
wearing
feel.
camouflage tonight. I don't have on camouflage, but everybody knows that. I stay in like, I wear camouflage almost every day.
Oh, I
I,
love camo. It's so comfortable. I
if
love
you
it.
notice my whole everything I have is actually camouflage. And just a little crazy story, when I got my van, I told him I wanted it to be camouflage, and my cousin's like, no, we're not doing that. So he made it camo, but he made it girly colors. I said, no, I want the green camo, you know. So I love camo, and I've had 3 shows that came on back to back. Everybody had on camo but me. I say, I want to thank y'all for wearing camouflage. And y'all really is. I really love y'all for that. I love that. But I love your style because every time I see you, it's something different and unique. And I love. I always say she is such a pretty lady. So
Oh,
I,
you're
I've
so
always given you. I've always given you that compliment from behind. I'm like, oh my God, she's so pretty. And when you come into a room, you brighten up a room. I've seen you in several different workshops and conferences, and you have always brightened up a room. You have always gave us words of wisdom, and it was always been short, sweet, to the point. And I mean, you engage with people. So I've heard you speak at several different events, and it's always engaging to the point where you're like, okay, you're glued in. Like I
yeah,
can sit here and say, I'm gonna do this show for 30 minutes, but
yeah,
everything it never works that way, especially when you have someone like yourself that's basically feeding me knowledge. And not only are you feeding others knowledge, but you're working on me because some things I learned tonight just by listening, I'm realizing like, well, I need to work on some stuff. Can you, um, and that's the transparency I have in me. I mean, I'm honest. There's some things I need to work on, but at least I know that there's people out there that you can call to say,
absolutely.
hey, Miss Sabrina, listen, I need to talk to you. What do I need to do? How do we need to set up something? And there's so many people that's dealing with different things, and it's just they don't know where to turn. So I thank God for you tonight because we don't know where this may lead. This may lead to you helping some people that don't know where to go. They're embarrassed to go, and they see that you're transparent. They see that you're willing to help. So this may help a soul that is lost. So I always say things that, even though it's hot topics, it's still keeping it real in the gospel. So,
Amen. Amen.
it's still on that platform. It's always going to be. We just separated a little bit. But I think that,
Well, I think it's been infused enough, and I thank you for respecting that because wherever I go to speak and whatever I choose to do or engage in, that's always one of the questions: Is God welcomed here? Is this faith based? And if not, I'm going to be honest with you up front and say, yes, there's the secular mental health. We do use all the jargon and the buzz terms and everything else, but I know by research, just recently based on some things that I'm working on, that when individuals had nothing else, they felt they didn't know counseling or they weren't going to go on anything else. Spirituality was at the top.
right,
They had God, they had their faith, they had prayer. And for a lot of people, it got them through. Maybe they were dysfunctional for a period, more than likely, but they managed to get through and live a reasonable life. But I love to be able now to even come along and say, okay, yes, you did get through that. but we can still build you up. We can still take you to a healthier place. And I want to thank you for honoring me and honoring what you saw and having a dialogue with me and getting to know me and not prejudging and all the different things that we do. That's why we miss so many amazing people in this life, because we can't get past ourselves and what we expect other people to be like and look like and do. I just expect you to be you. And whatever comes along with that, I just expect you to be the person that you are. And I'm willing to love on you right where you are. Because that's what some amazing people did for me at my worst, Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
They made me feel like, oh my God, because they saw in me the potential. And I'm still connected to these same individuals right now. And I don't care when they call or if they, whatever they need, I'm always going to be there because they met me at my worst and helped me realize my best. So they deserve me. You understand what I'm saying? They deserve my goodness. They deserve it because they've earned it. So my message in closing here, I don't know how much more time we have, because this
Yes,
conversation is only a tip of the iceberg.
yes,
To
ma'am.
really understand, even if you realize that you're in a difficult way, what's the
Mm-hmm.
process to engage, to even get services and to get help and all of that? That's even more of an in-depth conversation. But what you've done, and I thank you for it, is allowing us more and more to openly have the dialogue, to respect each other, to be honest, to be transparent. I share my story all the time, stories actually, all the time. I've learned to pick and choose when I know it's going to be beneficial. Self disclosure is another question mark you have to consider. But as God leads me and discernment leads me, I'm able to say by my experience, I understand what you're going through. I can really say that because I know what it feels like. And this is a way for us to connect and not just feel like somebody's just sitting here and listening to you and they don't really understand what's going on. No, I know what it's like to be triggered. I know what it's like to have a panic attack. I know what it's like to disassociate yourself from so much pain that you are like floating around watching it happen. I know what it's
Yes, ma'am.
like. And what I ultimately want for everybody is let's get to a place where we heal and stop being so damaging to each other. And we're
Mm-hmm.
one decision away from doing it. Just
Yeah.
choosing better.
So just to tell me, how can we, if we make the step, because once again, we have to make the step, how
Yeah.
can we contact you to be able to get the help that we basically need?
Well, my number, to be honest with you, even if it relates to our community page, and we have some things that are going to be birthed in several months. But my number is out on the information highway. If you see a number
Okay.
attached to the House of Loveillionaires, it is my personal cellular.
Okay.
All day, things all day. We have a separate line or whatever, and I'm considering that. But call me, inbox me. I encourage people to do it. Some amazing professionals out here. I've learned that I cannot do all and see all and help all. So I'm very good at collaborations or connecting or making the referrals for whatever needs to happen. And a lot of the like the elevation experience and the show and different things like that, I'm really going to be pulling people in who are credentialed, who've done the work, who've earned the spotlight in this realm. And I'm just going to showcase and give them opportunity to tell the people what they do and do really well.
Okay. So I just want to invite everybody. Um, let me. I want to invite everybody. Everybody. I need everybody to come out this Saturday. It's the I'm trying to get your flyer here. Hold on a
Well,
second.
we're taping this Saturday.
So they're taping. So okay. So all right. So they're taping this Saturday,
Yes.
and this will be something that the show premiere will be this month, right? The end of this month.
We're taping this Saturday. It'll be this month. So what you'll see more than likely, probably Friday or even Saturday, is you're going to see the trailer to the show, and you're going to see more information about it and a lot of. I'm actually doing a solo piece in it, explaining a lot. I gave you a little snippet of it tonight, but the support groups that I'm going to launch, which is we're calling them elevation experiences. The first one is going to be January 20th.
Okay.
And I'm going to put out full details and invite people. But this is a safe place, and I'm so excited about it because we're going from psychoeducation to music therapy to art therapy to holistic approaches. So we're not keeping you in a box for one dimensional. So if you don't necessarily subscribe to meditation, how about music therapy?
That's
Or
it.
just trying different things and having all of these people in a place. But the beautiful piece is you're going to be able to process and talk about what you've been through or what you're going through and get real time advice and love and support. I'm so grateful to Ty Hanna and Kevin Brown. Going over to the Glades on Saturday, it was so phenomenal. But everybody who showed up, they showed up really ready to unveil, and they showed up really ready to start the healing process. Of course, that was only opening the gateway, but I actually had occasion to go back over Monday to South Bay and work with the family and get them all connected to services. So I'm just amazed at what God is doing, and I'm excited about it. I really am.
Well, I want to just extend my best wishes, my prayers to you in your endeavors. I am here to help you and support you as far as my platform if you need me.
Yeah,
Um, we love you over here at GT Promotions. We love you over here at
love
GT
you
Real
back.
Gospel. We love you over here at Hot Topics. I can't run down all these companies I got entwined, but we love you over here at the GT Empire. And we want to, again, we want to thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything you want to say in your closing? Because I've held you for an hour. I'm so
And I got paperwork, but that's fine. That's fine. I just want to tell people, to be honest with you, that to keep God first in your life. Keep God first and foremost. When everything else is crashing and breaking down around you, I'm very serious about my relationship with God. And I promise you that through prayer and supplication to God and really being honest about your needs, I talk to God like He's my best friend, like He's sitting right here next to me. Okay, God, this is us. We got to do this, but to also be responsible for yourself, whatever that means. And Sabrina can't tell you, no one else can really tell you what it means to be responsible for yourself until you embark on that journey. And that
um,
journey will dictate those things. But be accountable and responsible for yourself. And just know, living in a world with billions of people all moving all around, all over this space,
mhm.
everyone does not subscribe to the same standard. So you will do yourself well to not have expectations of other people that they will not be able to meet.
My God, you have given me so many nuggets tonight. Till again, I got to go back and watch this replay over and over and over again because you have truly blessed me, and I want to thank you. I'm not going to hold you longer because I know you're busy and you have things to do. So with that, I want to thank you. I want to say good night. Wish you well wishes, my prayers, and my love. And again, I'm here if you need me, Sabrina.
I will definitely be calling you, and God bless you. I so honor you tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you, and you have a great evening. All right, guys. So you have it here. Oh man, I am just so overjoyed and so overwhelmed because let me tell you, there's so many things we deal with in the inside that we feel so big that we don't want to have the conversation. And tonight, the conversation was had on so many things. And Sabrina Harris really blessed me, letting me know that you know what, there's things and ways that I can go about doing things and changing things in my life. So I do want to thank her so much for coming on. You can follow her. She is her information is in the link. Um, don't forget about the gospel concert, the Praise and Worship Experience magazine of the gospel. It will be at 2 Southwest Fifth Avenue in the great city of Delray Beach, Florida, on February the 8th, 2020. From 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we will be giving out the awards for the best. Again, everybody's a winner. Everybody's a winner because you were nominated, but your peers made you the best. And we also want to make sure that we're supporting the House of Lebanon. Um, Pearls of Wisdom evaluation. Let me tell you something. I learned something tonight about the pearls. I'm going to take that back to church and let them people know about the pearls and how they're. I got to listen to the replay and write that down so I can take that back to church and put a scripture to it. I'm going to fix that thing up, y'all. So, again, I want you guys to continue to support. Continue to support. We do want to send a shout out to my proud sponsor, Gillian and Co. Everybody knows She paid the cost to be the boss, y'all. We want to give a shout out to Gigan and Cole, which is Sylvia Robinson. She pays the cost to be the boss. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Please tune in on Monday. We got a great surprise. We have another promoter that is coming on with me. I tell people all the time that because I'm in this industry, I want to make sure that I cover everything. He's another promoter. He's a radio servicer. He is great. Just keep pushing promotion. And he will be right here with me on Monday evening. And then on Thursday, we have the book club. We have a young lady who's just put out her new book on Thursday for the book club. So we have so many things that are going on. Hot Topics is on the move. Stay connected. Again, stay connected, guys. I got to go. Peace out. I love you.